Well, Jack, how nice to see you again.
Thank you, love. Nice to see you again.
It's such a joy. You know, just recently, a few weeks ago, I talked with your son, Chris,
The tall American?
Yeah, yes, who has his own TV series.
Yeah, he's going great.
Yeah.
That's the life. I tell you, what pleases me most is not just the experience he's getting, but the way he's handling it. He's handling it very well.
He has his head on straight, Jack,
Yeah.
and you should be
Yeah,
very
he does.
proud of that.
I am. I really am.
And
the only thing I'm worried about is that it's going to be about 3 or 4 more months, and I'll be walking down the street with him, and everybody will start saying, "Who's the old guy with Chris Lemmon?"
I don't think so. I don't think so.
No, it's great. I just love it.
Jack, the China syndrome is off and running with a great
betcha.
deal of controversy.
Yeah.
When you were making the film, did you think that could happen?
Yes, I did, because I think until people see it, because in the background of the story, part of it takes place in a nuclear reactor, they can misinterpret it. That's why. And there has not been, it's the first film. You know what's going to happen. Now, this film will go out, I think, frankly, and be very successful, because it is very good, in my opinion, anyway. And the first critical reaction to it that we know of that is coming out is raves, thank heaven. It's the first one to ever involve even remotely a reactor. Now, I think there's going to be 2 or 3 or 4 because this is going to be successful, and then everybody will calm down. But on this first one, I think, yeah, they'll go, oh, they're using a nuclear, or, oh, well, it's against nuclear reactor. That isn't what the story is about at all. But until people realize that, I think there will be. They'll think, possibly, that the film is all about a reactor. It's not. It's about options. It's about choices. And it's a thriller. It's a thriller background. Hitchcock could have well done it, you know, really. It just happens to take place there, which is what gives it the excitement. You know, it's a lot more exciting if your background isn't a factory, it's a reactor. That's what makes it so thrilling. The possibility that something might happen if we don't stop this guy is very exciting.
Jack, do you have a personal stand on nuclear power plants?
Yeah, only I'm not against them. I am against too many too fast, too many eggs in the basket before we really know, while there is plenty of options, you know. I think that in the past and now we should really have been developing more along the lines of solar energy, geothermal, the ocean, etc. Cousteau has wondered why and has been trying for 20 years to get people to use the force of the waves. It's very simple. And you can get tremendous energy that way. But we haven't. I just think that we rushed too fast while there is the possibility of real danger. There is always a danger in radioactivity, and the more we produce it, I think the more we're asking for it, you know, when there is options. Now, that's easy for me to say. We need energy. There's no question. So that's why it's such a controversial issue, you see. And I fully understand that. I'm not against it, in other words. I'm just against making too many reactors where 90% of our effort will go that way, and then if, God forbid, there is a danger, then what do? We're stuck, you see.
Jack, have you ever been associated with a controversial film before?
Not really. I mean, not as much as this may become controversial. There was, strangely enough, quite a bit of controversy about Save the Tiger. The very first preview, there was 2 fistfights in the lobby between middle-aged businessmen saying that this was a blasphemy, that people are going to think that middle-aged businessmen seriously consider burning their factories down for insurance, etc. And another guy saying it's the most honest film I've ever seen, etc. And a lot of people feeling that their sons or daughters would think that that is them. That's their father. This is the kind of life he leads. And these are the kind of decisions he has to make, etc. I loved the film myself. I thought it was a marvelous script, and fortunately it was very successful, and critically it was a smash.
And you won an Academy Award.
Yeah, well that's secondary, but it was fairly controversial. And this one, I think controversy can be marvelous if the film is good. If it's controversial, it's like throwing sex scenes into a film purely to attract attention to it or to entice people, you know. If the film is good, a la, for instance, Network was a controversial film. If the film is good, then I think controversy is very healthy. It makes people think. Whether it's pro or con, it makes them think. Then I think it's great, as long as the film is worth it, you know. and I think this one is.
Jack, are you good at predicting Academy Awards?
Not really, no.
Did you think you would win either time when you won for Roberts?
No, but then again, I think when you're involved yourself, you steel yourself. You say, I'm not going to get it, I'm not going to get it, I'm not going to get it. I've always said, and very honestly, when I haven't won, that, well, I hope I get another chance to lose again. You know, because being nominated is really just about an equal honor, I think. I think it's almost impossible, frankly, and I'm now not being blasé, but having been fortunate enough to win twice, I really do think that it's awfully difficult, if not impossible, to take 5 different performances and say, this is the best one. And now if the actors all played the same part, then it would be much easier to make your own personal choice. But it's awfully tough. I find it, as a member of the Academy, when it comes to voting, I can do the nominating all right, but the voting drives me up the wall, and especially making the choice when, let's say, one of your dearest friends is in there. Boy. Then you almost want to abstain because you don't want to be influenced. It really should be for the, in your opinion, the best performance. It's awfully tough.
Can you do that, Jack? Can you just not vote in a particular race?
Oh, yes, you don't have to vote, and you also don't have to vote for 5. You can vote for only 1 in the nominatings, let's say.
But in the final ballot?
In the final ballot, you don't have to vote in every category, or any category if you don't want to. They merely count the number of votes that do come in. There's 3,000 some odd hundred, I think, altogether.
Are there any changes you'd like to see in the way the Academy is set up?
Well, I don't know. See, as I say, I certainly don't think it's a foolproof thing, and criticism of it is very viable. You know, for instance, Marlon and George Scott would rather not be involved because they don't feel that the system is right. They feel that it becomes competitive. Well, I think it's a valid criticism. I don't have to agree with them. But I certainly understand their point of view, and that they understand mine. We're all very good friends, as a matter of fact.
But don't you think it's a wonderful thing for
Oh, I think it's terrific. I think whatever faults there are, I think it's great, and exactly for that reason. It's the one big puff job that we've got.
It's the World Series.
It's the World Series. It's the Super Bowl for films, you know, and I think it serves a great purpose in that way for public relations and for promotion of films in general. Sure. I'm all for it.
Jack, as always, it's just a delight to talk with you.
Oh, thank you, Bobbie. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Okay, now if I could... Yes, okay. Jack, have you ever been involved in a controversial film before? Let me give you another one. Jack, are you any good at predicting the Academy Awards? That should do it.
You're good, kid.
No, that's all.
Very good.
I got a lot of practice. No, I appreciate your wanting to move around there, but it really isn't worth the effort. Greg Peck always does.